Childhood was interesting in the fact that we were what they call today migrant farm workers. A lot of people thought that was a very, very strenuous life for kids, but it taught me a lot of values. Talking to my mother actually yesterday, just before coming up here, and she always begrudges the fact that we had to travel like that and do all the work we did. And I hug her and kiss her and say, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. It was the fact that I learned at a very early age to work with people, to understand that a good day's work, there's nothing bad wrong with it.
Ronald Ray left high school in 1959 to enlist in the Army. After serving a 3-year tour, he re-enlisted to become a member of the U.S. Army Special Forces. By June of 1966, Ray was in charge of a platoon with the 35th Infantry, operating in the Ia Drang Valley. They were part of a larger operation intended to stop the North Vietnamese from entering Vietnam from Cambodia.
And basically what we were trying to do is set listening posts and outposts along the Cambodian border to monitor infiltration of North Vietnamese troops into the central highlands of Vietnam. And so I had set up about 3 listening posts along my sector. We went out on a patrol one day and we captured one guy and I had to shoot another one. And I never forget when I went over and rolled his body over and started searching the body to see what's on it. It was only one thing on his whole body, and that was a little fold out, like a little billfold. And on one side of it was a picture of a lady, and on the other side was a picture of a kid. And that to me brought back to me, you know, what war is all about. I mean, it's actually, and that's something we all have to think about as individuals in life, is that the fact is, war is an inhumane act. And it takes the lives of the most precious asset, and that's our young. After about the 3rd or 4th day, we discovered a number of large trails being cut within my sector. I had the suspicion of being an old country boy that there was something going to happen in my sector, and I kept telling the company commander, who was in the lower part of the Ia Drang, and he was totally convinced, no, it wasn't going to happen where I was at, it was going to happen where he was at, like he had did the year before in '65. So what I did do, though, I beefed up one listening post where the big trails were being cut along the stream bed and trail crossings. And I sent out a patrol that went along that area, and I told the patrol to stay there with that listening post that day. I just felt something was going to happen. And sure enough, that outpost got surrounded. I got a call saying we're pinned down and we can't break contact. So I had a decision. I called my company commander, called everybody, said I need reinforcements. They still said it's just a minor probe. I said, no, I don't think it is. It's a big push, and I'm going to get my troops. Then we took off through the jungle, heading toward the location. We had to fight our way into them. And so we broke through the lines, got to my unit that was surrounded. Sure enough, I had one guy hit in the head. Vincent Mueller was shot in the head. We were trying to do something with him, and by that time we had a machine gun or two putting a lot of directed fire on us, and I tried to get a squad to move in to knock out the machine gun, and the guys moved in and got pinned down. The only thing to do then was somebody had to get rid of the machine gun before it started killing all my troops, so I moved forward and knocked out the machine gun and 4 or 5 people with a shotgun and some grenades.
Moments later, several of Ray's comrades were trying to evacuate the wounded when they, too, got pinned down. Ray went to their rescue, killing the attacking enemy, but not before they shot him in the legs.
And just turned around at that time, and I still was able to move, and they lobbed another grenade in next to 2 of my individuals, my radio operator and Vincent. And I yelled at them, but they didn't. They didn't move. So I was already hit, so I dove in between, covered their bodies, and then I got some more grenades in the legs. There was no question to me, and never has been. My life was not near as worth as any one of those. If there had to be someone to die that day, it was going to be me, not them. still receiving fire from one area. Pulled myself over and took the last 2 grenades I got and flew in on those guys and got rid of them. Then it was something else. Just totally peace. Not one shot. Couldn't hear anything. And there we were. Everything just seemed to stop. So it started picking up, and I realized then I couldn't move. My legs were, I was paralyzed from waist down. So I said, okay, this is no problem. I said, you guys get everything up, get out, leave me the shotgun and 2 things, and get going. And so they all started packing up, and never forget, they all get up and they started running, finally started running. He said, what are you saying? I said, get on out of here. He said, what do you mean get out of here? I said, I'll cover you, just get out of here, don't worry about it. He said, no sir, I'm taking you with me. He said, okay, we're the last 2 out. So everybody took out and he picked me up and put me across his shoulder and he carried me down the hill. Pretty neat, pretty neat. The troops on the ground wanted me to get the highest award. Presented by President Nixon. It was a moving ceremony, it really was. It was definitely one of the top events in my life. But the truth of it is, it was being able to be honored by my country for doing what I should do. You know, I didn't do anything more than what everybody should do. I mean, if you're a leader and you're entrusted with the leadership of human beings and so forth, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lead them best you can, fight the battle the best you can, but you should protect them the best you can. And that's all I did, was protect my troops.